Today on All Things 80s, the stories behind these controversial figures. Welcome back to All Things 80s, and I thought I would take this chance to address the stories behind these very controversial Star Wars figures. Now, as you may or may not know, I have in the past opened vintage Star Wars figures, and in each and every case I have felt entirely justified in doing so. And to be honest, I could close this video by saying, I bought these figures, I can do what the hell I want with them, but that's not the point of this. The point is to explain what it is that compels me to open something like this. One of the first videos when I started doing All Things 80s was I got hold of a vintage mail-away Kenner box, still sealed. Didn't know what it was. The seller didn't know what it was, although I had my suspicions as to what it might be. Anyway, for me, it was a wonderful experience because the last time I opened a Kenner mail-away was back in 1983 when I sent away those proofs of purchase and I received the Neon Numb figure. So to get this white box, I cut the tape, opened it, and discovered, as it happened to be the case, it was the Emperor, which was probably always going to be the case. However, the thrill I got from doing that was fantastic, but even better than that was the smell of this figure, and oh my God, it still retained that smell. Still have the Kenner bag here. I don't know where the box is, I have it somewhere, but oh my God, that right there smells of 1983. It's fantastic. And the pleasure I got from doing that was phenomenal. And I believe I paid about $20 for that blind mail away. So for me, that was $20 well spent. And the fact of the matter is, this was when I began recollecting Star Wars figures. So I knew I'd have to get an Emperor at some point. So why not get a brand new one, minty fresh? Now the next figure I did an unboxing of was on my birthday in 2019. I wanted to do something for myself to take me back to birthdays as a kid, and it was always my intention to get hold of a brand new TIE Fighter pilot, for the reason being that that was the best smelling Star Wars figure I had as a kid. And I got one, and the card back wasn't particularly great. It's got a lot of creases and dings, not one but two price stickers, and an extremely yellowed bubble. And for the purpose of that unboxing video, I wanted to go back in time as if I were a kid in the 80s. And I just ripped the bubble off. And I know that's distressing for some folks. For me, it was a wonderful feeling. And it really did take me back to being a kid again. And I make no apologies whatsoever for doing that. Next up, we have Nikto. I didn't do a video on this for the pure reason that I got a carded Nikto as part of a lot that I bought from Facebook, or was it Craigslist? I can't remember now. It was a bunch of figures and there was one carded figure. However, again, this card has a lot of wear up here. There's price stickers that have been removed. There's tape all over it, and the bubble was cracked and was coming away anyway. Again, I needed a Nikto from my collection. I thought, what the hell? So I opened that one, and brand new Nikto for my loose collection. And like I said, it wasn't such a big event. I didn't even do a video for that. The next one, again, there was justification behind it. As I'm building a collection of Star Wars figures, one figure I will require was the Imperial Dignitary. However, it's a figure that is notoriously bad for having nose rub, and I tried my damnedest to buy a loose one without nose rub. Wasn't finding it. Then I saw on eBay a listing for a mint on card Imperial Dignitary. This is the card, and as you can see here, I guess someone ripped the price tag off, and in doing so completely disfigured the card. The bubble is so yellow that I honestly believed that the coin contained within was a gold coin. That's how yellow it was. And the simple fact of the matter was, yes, I wanted a brand new figure with no nose rub, but I also wanted to experience the power of the Force card opening, because it was something I never did as a kid. By the time these came out, I had moved on to Action Force. So to get the chance, like some 35 years later, to open one of these, well worth it to me. And it gave me a good feeling, and it gave me the chance to see what it was like for a kid in the 80s to open a Star Wars figure and get a coin at the same time. Next up was the Luke Skywalker Jedi Knight, and this is one that I've probably shared this backstory a number of times, so I'll try and be quite brief here. Back in '83, when the Return of the Jedi figures came out, and we would look on the card back and I could see there was a Luke Skywalker Jedi Knight figure, I had to have that figure. Try as I may, I could not track down one of these figures. And we're talking well into these Jedi figures being on shelves. I could never find a Luke Skywalker Jedi Knight figure. However, one afternoon, my mum had taken me into Edinburgh, into a department store called John Lewis. And I went to the toy department, ran straight to the Star Wars section, and there on the peg was Luke Skywalker Jedi Knight. However, it had obviously been purchased and returned because the figure was there, the cape was there, however it was missing the lightsaber and the blaster. But such was my desire to get this figure, I took it anyway. So as a kid, I never had the green lightsaber or the palace blaster. And I should point out as well that my Luke Jedi did have the snap cape. So I knew that one of these days I would want to rectify that. And the chance came where this was on eBay and it wasn't particularly expensive. Furthermore, another figure I wanted that is notoriously bad for nose rub. So I knew I'd be spending decent money to get a really good conditioned Luke Jedi Knight. The chance came to get a carded version for less than most of the non-carded versions were going for. So I thought this is a great chance to kill many birds with the one stone. So this video I did on this figure not only allowed me to get the Luke Skywalker Jedi Knight figure with no nose rub, it also allowed me to correct a 35 or 36 year wrong. And I finally, after all these decades, was able to open a Luke Skywalker complete with lightsaber and blaster, and that gave me a real warm, fuzzy feeling inside. And I know that some people have a hard time comprehending that. I don't really care. It did so much for my mood that more than worth doing. And finally, the last figure that I've unboxed was the AT-AT Commander. Again, another figure that suffers from nose rub. So I knew I'd be getting a reasonably expensive figure for my collection because it's a figure I want. I don't want any nose rub figures in my collection. If that makes me a snob, so be it. But I want my figures to look as minty as possible. I was not seeing any decent loose AT-AT Commanders that fit my need. I then saw a listing, I think it was a buy it now with a make an offer situation, and I thought, you know what, let me make an offer. And lo and behold, the offer was accepted. I don't remember off the top of my head what I paid. I do know it was a hell of a lot less than people were asking for loose examples that were not in great condition. Now I should point out the card itself, it's got a big crease down it, it's got residue up there. The bubble, again, extremely yellowed. Now the reason this was very special to me was, this is one of the figures I can remember exactly where I was, when it happened, and who I was with when I got this as a kid back in the 80s. So I went through this, you know, quite magical experience where I held this in my hand, it was still sealed, and I just remembered being with my mom, my grandma, and actually came from the Co-op supermarket in my hometown in Scotland, which sadly has now been demolished. So for me, just to go back in time and remember those wonderful memories being I probably was 8 years old, possibly. Yeah, I think I was 8 years old. It was a Friday. It was after school, and because my grandparents on my dad's side would always visit on a Friday. So I came home from school. My mom and my grandma took me out to the Co-op upstairs where they had everything from paint and furniture to underpants and, of course, toys. And I can, for whatever reason, my memory is so clear on this one day that I remember everything about the experience back then, and I was able to recreate that. I think it was last year I did this, and it was every bit as magical as I thought it would be. And I am so glad I did that, because there's no substitute for recreating a special moment in your life. And that's what I've done with these. So not only have I recreated special moments, I've also acquired the most perfect figures for my collection. So for me, it's win-win. Now, I know a lot of people have a hard time understanding why I would do such a thing. Equally, I have a hard time understanding why you would hate someone doing this. So, you know, we all have our opinions. I would never call someone else an a-hole because they have a different opinion to me. It's just a different opinion. Simple as that. So I hope that gave a bit of context as to why I have these figures and these busted open card backs. Ultimately, like I said earlier, they belong to me. I can do what I want with them. That's not really a good excuse. The real reason for doing it is for the memories and for the joy it brings. And if you can't understand why that makes me happy, then that's fine, that's on you. But for me, wonderful thing. And should point out as well, I'm not a reckless opener, because I think it was last year, maybe it was earlier this year, I have acquired a couple of carded figures with the intention of opening them. One was the Cloud Car pilot, another figure that's hard to find in mint condition. And I saw one on eBay, what I thought was a reseal, for a pretty decent price. So I thought, I'll buy that, I'll open it, and I get a nice looking bright white Cloud Car pilot. Well, it arrived. Turns out it wasn't a reseal. I thought, you know what, this is too nice to open, so I've kept that one carded. The other one I got for my birthday, I think it was last year, was the AT-AT driver. Again, another figure with a lot of white that tends to yellow, and also has a lot of paint rub on his butt. I thought, you know what, I'll get that, I'll open it, and I'll have a perfect AT-AT driver. Well, that one arrived. I got given it for my birthday. I thought, my God, this is too nice. The bubble's crystal clear. I thought, I can't open that. So that has stayed sealed. So I don't want anyone out there thinking that I just open things for shock value or to be controversial. Far from it. I only open if there's a justifiable reason, in my opinion, and if doing so makes me happy. So there you go. Those are my, 6 controversial Star Wars figures. So hope you enjoyed that. I want to say thank you for watching, with special thanks going out to the patrons. Please like, please subscribe, and as always, stay tuned for more videos from All Things 80s.